deserves the blame for this Eagles loss?
I did pick the Eagles before the year started to win the NFC, and then I re-picked them to win it all. And I wasn't just trying to jinx them because I picked them last year before anybody did, because I like that they've set the bar higher in our division to make Jerry Jones try to live up to that GM in Philadelphia who just runs Super Bowl rings around Jerry. There was just something wrong with these Eagles the whole season, and I kept trying to like or even love them, and I couldn't because they hit and they missed, and they hit and they missed. And this game was like a microcosm of hitting and missing, because they did a lot of good things in this game, but they didn't really show up for a game they should have won by 3 touchdowns on paper. On paper, especially if you tell me Kittle's going to be gone, and it's going to be a devastating Achilles injury, and obviously, as Kinsey well knows, there's no Bosa, there's no Warner, there's no Ayuk, there's no Bethune. I mean, he was really good, and he's gone for this game, and they have to go drag Eric Kendricks off the couch.
Right.
The last team he played for was my team. He was a Cowboy. They brought him in from Minnesota to run Mike Zimmer's defense, if you recall. And he wasn't very good because he was washed up. Now he's 33, and they literally had to go pull him off the couch to bring him into San Francisco.
And he was running the defense.
And he was running the defense, and he had 10 tackles yesterday, and he broke up the pass that ended the game. Eric Kendricks did that. Well, Kyle had his team way readier to play from jump than Sirianni did. And right away, it's just astounded me that Demarcus Robinson, who caught 22 balls for this team, comes out of nowhere on the opening drive and catches 2 big ones on Quinion Mitchell, who's, to me, I know Pat Surtain's really good, but he's right up in there as one of the top corners, top 3 corner. And Demarcus Robinson smokes him twice on the opening drive, second one for a touchdown. I'm like, what? Demarcus Robinson did that? So Jalen answers with a long drive and a touchdown, and here we go again with another kicker. Jake Elliott misses the extra point. It's a kick in the balls, man. It's just like, you did that, and now you're down 7-6. It doesn't feel right. It feels like, here we go again. And yet, Jalen played well enough to win the game. They dropped 4 balls on 3rd down. On 3rd down, they dropped 4 balls. They rushed for 140 yards. So to your point about your defense, it played really well. But Philly did something that they don't do. Saquon got untracked. He got unleashed. That they ran for 140, which should be good enough to win that football game. They dominated the clock, 36 minutes to 24. That should be good enough to win that football game against a decimated visiting opponent.
But it wasn't.
It just wasn't. And yet, look, the AJ thing, we're going to get to AJ in a second. AJ versus Jalen, trust me, they've had big off-the-field issues, and you think they've made up, and they're okay, and then they're not, and then it's a struggle. It's a struggle like Jalen feels pressure to throw it to AJ, and then he throws it to AJ, and he threw him the 2 balls in the second quarter against the wind. And I thought AJ should have caught one of them because he's 3-time Pro Bowl receiver, and he's just that good. You got to go get one of those. I know the wind is playing havoc with it, but you got to go get one of them. And he didn't. Then he got in it with Sirianni on the sideline, and it's just troubled. It never felt right to me. And then he drops the big 3rd down pass, but Jalen sucked it up and said, no, I got this, and he goes back to Dallas Goedert on 4th and 5, and that was a big clutch throw that saved the game for a moment. And they get down to 3rd and 11 at the 21, and he throws it to his big play receiver, the guy who doesn't fail him, Devontae. And Devontae, I know it's against the wind and the ball's floating, but he gets both hands. I'm sorry. It hit both hands. You have to catch it. And if you catch it, it's 1st and goal at the 5-yard line. Help me out. With 40 seconds left, or can you cash that? I think you can cash that. And we're having a whole different conversation. But he dropped it. And then I thought Jalen forced the next throw to Dallas Goedert because that's his security blanket. That's the only one he really trusts.
I didn't like the play call.
Yeah, well, it was just triple
I like the play call. I didn't like who he threw it to.
He just threw it to the wrong guy. And they're like three defenders everywhere,
Yeah.
and Eric Kendricks just drops back and gets his hand on the ball. Okay, so did Sirianni have the team ready? No. Were they just spoiling to get beaten by a team? Like, I loved what McCaffrey said at the end of the game. He said, our team fights. That's what your team does. It just fights.
They're united.
Because the culture is a fighting culture. The Eagles fight internally. That's what they do. They fight each other. So, in the end, it just felt not meant to be, and congratulations to your fighters, because they sucked it up and gutsed it up and pulled it off.
The greatest game in the world.
And I'm putting the blame on AJ.
Okay?
You are the number one receiver.
Okay, I'm glad to hear you say that.
You got opportunities to make game-changing plays, and you're not making them. To play downfield, that could potentially lead to a score.
Absolutely.
You're not making it. The third down, you drop that. That's a big play right there. And I think that drop is why he threw it to Goddard in triple coverage, because he's just not trusting your ass right now. He's not trusting his number one guy who outside with one-on-one coverage.
He went the other way.
You feel? I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about the Goddard play.
Yeah.
They in red 4 or red 2. Either one, the corner is by himself on AJ.
Yep.
You could throw that back shoulder, or I could find a way to. AJ is one-on-one out there with Lenore.
He was.
You throw it inside against 3 guys, that's because he's not trusting you, because you ain't making no plays all day.
Fact.
So I'm putting it all on AJ, man. And then the sideline thing, that's just bad morale. That's you lowering the morale because the head coach running down. He the fucking head coach.
Wow.
If he's telling you hurry up and get off the field, hurry up and get off the field, bro. Like, that don't make you. You think he's saying something to you about your drop because you in your feelings.
Yeah.
Like, bro.
I think he did think he was getting on him.
He thought he was getting on him about his drop, so that's why he wanted to buck up and say something back. But, bro, this
Agreed.
It's just not a time for that, bro. His whole demeanor at the whole game was lackadaisical and walking around, and it wasn't no urgency, in my opinion. And if your best number one guy come out and play like that in a big game like this, it's gonna be tough to win. So I'm giving it to AJ, and also the fucking secondary. I didn't expect they played pretty good all year, at least later half of the season. I didn't expect them to give up big play after big play. Cooper DeJean gave up a big play in the slot for 35, 40 yards.
He did.
You said Quinyon Mitchell touchdown and a big play on him to start the game. Like, too many big plays.
I thought
by that
Blankenship got burned a couple times.
Blankenship got burned. I thought they played good up front. They stopped the run. They got pressure on them.
Although, quick point before you guys go. I like Jalix Hunt, and I love Jalen Phillips that they picked up from the Dolphins. And I kept looking for him yesterday. Do you realize they both played high snaps on defense? They registered no stats. They did nothing. They got one hit on Brock Purdy, which was a sack, and it was kind of a coverage sack where he took off running. That was it. So
they stopped the run, and I feel like
they did stop the run.
They got to him enough. They made him move.
They got him off. They got him off the spot.
You know what I'm saying? They got pressure on him where he tried to force throws. Quinyon Mitchell got 2 picks off them getting to him fast.
They did.
So I feel like, man, up front they played solid. At secondary, Quinyon Mitchell ended up with 2 picks, but them big plays, man, that should lose you games.
It will.
Yeah. I think, I'm going to blame this on Jalen Hurts, and not only this game, I'm going to blame it on him all season. Because we started off the season and we were talking about Kevin Patullo. Obviously, he's a step down from Shane Steichen, Kellen Moore, right? So you have Patullo come in, and everybody's asking in the early part of the year, like, what's going on with the play calling? What's happening? And then you take a step back, and I talked to some sources that are really close to the program, and they're saying, listen, Jalen isn't playing well in this offense. He's holding the ball too long. Zone coverage confuses him, right? So that's where I think this festered with A.J. Brown. He couldn't get him the ball. He's back there, standing back there for 4 seconds. The coverage is fooling him, right? So you have this festering with A.J. all year long. You have, is it Patullo? Is it Jalen Hurts? I can literally sit back at the end of the year and I could say, yeah, it's a lot on Patullo, but Jalen did not raise his level of game. They had no identity on offense. Their offense goes through Saquon Barkley. That's how they went up through a Super Bowl run, right? Saquon running the ball, going over 100 yards a game. Jalen making enough plays.
The same thing about Saquon then. This offense didn't work well for Saquon.
Well, the offensive line was a mess up front. The offensive line had some injuries. They couldn't open up holes.
And Lane Johnson was gone again yesterday.
Lane Johnson's gone again yesterday, but he still had over 4 seconds.
Run game is how you draw it up, too.
Run game's how you draw it up, right? That comes back to play calling, right? But then if you take away the run game, it's got to be on your franchise Super Bowl winning quarterback, and I don't think Jalen Hurts raised his level of play this year. Now you have AJ who's frustrated. I'm sure Devontae's frustrated, but he's never going to say anything about it, right? But Jalen had all day to throw. They kept him pretty clean. They got 140 yards on the ground.
Yep.
They turned the ball over twice, or they got San Francisco to turn the ball over twice.
You had every opportunity.
And they got 3 points off of it, right? The defense is handing you the ball. The defense is playing well, and then you just can't do shit on offense. I think that Jalen really kind of held them back, and you see him. He's sitting back there watching the zone coverage, and the only thing he can do is dump it off to the tight end in the flat, dump it off to the running back, right? You got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on the edge. You give Josh Allen, you give Caleb Williams, you give Justin Herbert, those 2 guys, and they have that quiet of a year. It's all on the quarterback.
Had multiple drops that were in his
right. Now the drops are on AJ. If you're gonna bitch and moan all year and you want to make a stink about it, that's fine. But you have to show up in the big moments.
It was a collective offense. It was just collective. Like there's times where Jalen missed open guys, but then there's times where they getting drops. The defense got you the ball back twice. So if I get you the ball back twice, I understand the scheme of how they drew it up, and we gave up the big play for the touchdowns. And that last touchdown, that's hard to defend. You know, you got CMC on that choice route. He goes out. You have to stay with him. If he goes out, you got to stay with him as he goes out.
Yeah.
CMC, he come back, catch it in the end. That's hard to defend. So, but they had every opportunity offensively, but when the game was on the line, because collectively the offense just wasn't good, but when the game was on the line, I hit AJ right in the face. I hit Devontae right in the hands.
Yep.
I believe it was the drive before, I hit Saquon right in the hands.
He did.
Yep.
He was, when I needed to make the throws, he made the necessary throws. The extra point early in the game, if they have that, I understand San Fran's kicker missed the extra point too, but if they have that, then it's, they down 3.
Yeah.
So now we can just go get 3. It was just collectively, offensively, it just, and like Lieb said, man, I've been saying this all year. And the Philly fans, y'all can say what y'all want. I don't care. Y'all killed me for this. Y'all should have got rid of AJ long time ago.
They can't.
Because it doesn't matter. He's never going to accept accountability.
Yep.
He's always going to, it's just, and then you go out there and you getting dropped. You can't cry like that. And then when the ball is time to make the play, you don't make the play. And like Lieb said, this is the head coach. His energy was off. If he had great high energy, he wouldn't have reacted like that.
Yeah.
That was a self-esteem, self-conscious reaction to the head coach running down there.
Yeah.
You had just the play before, you missed the ball. And then their very next, you go out, first off, when he got up, okay, he was a little banged up, he went off, they got a flag. He comes back on the field. They come right back to you. It hit you right in the hands.
Yeah.
And then you want to take your time getting off the field. He's telling you, get off the field so we can punt the ball.
Yeah.
And you going to sit here and beef with the coach, and then when the coach walk off, now you beefing with somebody else on the sideline. You are on the sideline sliding all down. Like, dog, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's bringing us down. Like, what are you doing?
Well, here's what's coming in Philadelphia. Patullo's gone, right? And they have to mend the fence with A.J. Brown, because I was just looking at his contract. He has a $25 million cap hit roughly, right? If they trade him, his cap goes to $48 million. So they're going to have a $48 million hole in their roster. They need to get AJ, I think this is where Sirianni's good. Put your arm around him. You got to get him back for one more year. You got to get the quarterback going. You got to bring it. He went from Shane Steichen to Kellen Moore to Kevin Patullo. You got to get a bright offensive mind around him. Get AJ. Hey, AJ, look, we're bringing in. We're changing things up. We're going to get it going. Because you got to run it back with AJ because they can't get rid of him. It's cap hell to get rid of him.
I know. I do want to dive into
your team built up like that. You could afford cap hell. They already.
That's what I'm saying, bro. You can get. You got enough.
That's a big number.
You got enough on your team, though. If you get a Todd Monken that could come in here, he could develop something. I would go get Josh McCown. He was under O'Connell. I'll tell you, get a guy like that. That's a mind that can build and really
Mike
make this
McDaniels.
thing go.
I go
That's
get
what I'm saying.
Mike McDaniels
you,
that would be perfect.
Bro,
man, I'm going to go get somebody
they're going to
coat the rock
perfect
and create I know how to get Tyreek Hill the ball, period.
Yes.
I know how to get Jalen Waddle the ball, period.
Right.
And I'm going to get
Do you
somebody
think
like
AJ
that.
Brown
That's
is
what
going
I'm
to respect
saying.
him?
I'm going, AJ is gone. I'm getting AJ a
Man,
lot of
I don't think so.
I said this
I don't
weeks
think
ago.
so.
Because when your production is high, we winning chips, then I could deal with it. The first sign of I can't deal with it no more, you doing this and we ain't winning no more, bro, you gotta go.
And you doing that, and when you dropping it, man, go, bro. You can go.
You get a nice draft pick for AJ. You can get Devontae could be the man. I'm bringing a young boy to be the Devontae. Right, easy work.
Skip, if you
By
were
the
the
way,
Eagles, would you part
allow
ways?
me to speak for Cody Kessler, who's not here today. From show one, first of the year, Kevin Patullo, no good.
No.
Yes,
So
I was in the same boat.
But they toted the rock yesterday.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
They had drops in key.
I mean, but
so that
we
wasn't
had
a good call to hit Devontae in his
hand.
hand.
Linebackers. It
That
wasn't hard to
call
throw the rock.
hit Devontae in his
But
hand.
no, I think.
Or maybe to throw the fade to AJ one-on-one.
If you look back at the
talking
whole
about?
season, the offense evaporated for halves. They
Yeah, it did.
would come out and ball out in the first half and then nothing, or they would just have a whole game and then get it going at the end.
Okay, but quick point about Jalen Hurts. His two greatest games of his career were Super Bowl games where he outplayed Patrick Mahomes in both Super Bowls, was the MVP of the second one in which they were up on Kansas City 40-6 with 4 minutes to go in the game. So he did that at the highest level. So if I have to choose between him and AJ, and I do believe it's come down to that, you have to cut the cord with AJ and eat all that. You just have to eat the cap.
Big number.
Because
That's a big number.
But remember, Jalen doesn't have the biggest number. So
Right.
and Saquon's isn't outrageous. It's not. They didn't give him the
crazy.
sun and the moon money wise. So you can sort of play and redo their deals to make it workable.
Well, the thing about the contracts in Philadelphia, they do a lot of void years. I think they have a crazy amount of number. They do a lot of those void years. So yeah, can they go in there? Is it best to have a divorce with AJ? Yes, but on paper they're going to have to make a lot of things
Get that paper.
work.
Them dudes is billionaires. He be all right. Get him out of here, man.
I know, but
There is no luxury
tax.
Man,
We play in the salary cap system.
Man, listen,
There
it's
is
so
no
many
luxury
teams out here
tax.
paying multiple coaches and all that, man. You gotta, hey, listen.
Yeah.
At some point, the team is gonna get the players. I'm gonna get tired of like, come on, dog. Come on, man. We gonna.
It's
They
good
get
when you
old.
win.
I think they
You
make it
start
go one more
losing,
year.
you start
I think-
losing, you're
I
not
think
dealing with
they
it.
make it work one more year with AJ because he's
AJ 's
It's
talented.
not going to work.
I
He's
bet
not
you whatever
happy
you wanna
there.
bet. AJ is so far gone.
All right.
He is not happy
Well,
there.
no,
It's
no,
never.
Wait,
gonna
I
work.
like a bet. Can we
No
bet?
Malibu sushi dinner that AJ's on the
Oh,
roster.
write this one down.
Yeah, I take
You
it.
don't have a
No, Malibu.
$48 million salary cap hole on your roster when you
Yes,
have
you can.
everyone on that roster
ain't-
paid like that.
Okay, everybody, but listen, you
They
can
got-
do that. Okay, but what about the rest of the talent on the team? That team is loaded still. So he
They're
can
loaded.
go.
Yeah,
He can
they're
go. We'll
loaded.
be all right.
Right.
We'll
They're
be
going to
straight.
replace him with a free wide out.
Well,
Straight.
True.
With
So-
a free wide out.
Yes.
majority of the guys are saying fire AJ Brown, and I will agree with this because look at you guys have 8 All-Pros on offense, and on the other side of the ball, we've got Kyle Shanahan and just a unit, right? You have Demarcus Robinson was our wide receiver 1 yesterday. It's like these are not big names, but they're making things happen because they have camaraderie and they have Kyle Shanahan. So, Gerald, I do want to ask, did Kyle Shanahan prove yesterday that he's the best coach in the NFL?
Oh, I think Kyle Shanahan should be the coach of the year.
Woo!
Everything that they went through, injury after injury after
The
injury
next
after
man up.
injury.
Next man up.
Quarterback is out, next man up, and they found a way to get into the playoffs. Not just get in the playoffs. We had double-digit games. It was rare where you seen them where you like, dang, they just don't look. They was in all these games. Seattle was number 1 seed. They went up there opening day. They beat them. They had a chance to beat them at home. They kept that game close. All of these games, Kyle is showing that it's about the culture. It's about taking who I have and figuring out how to make that work.
Making
He
it
has
best.
plug-and-play systems. Salah, he should be up for
great.
another head coaching job.
Yes.
What he's been able to do with
don't
this
take it.
defense.
Yes.
And to like, man, hey, listen, I just get whoever, but it's the system. I forget what game it was. We all came in here the next day and was like, man, that San Fran team, the defense was just flying around.
Yeah.
I forget what game it was. We was like, man, who are these dudes?
prime
It's against
And
the
they-
Rams.
They was just, I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan, he showed who he is as a coach because a lot of times we were looking at like the 2019 team, loaded with talent, offensively, defensively, then they come back in the playoffs. And every time he's in the playoffs, he's going to the AFC
Yeah, he's going to the
This is what he's doing.
Yep.
But this year, when you're looking at what he had, you say, well, man, the 49ers is just every week. Like, man, how the 49ers got 6 wins already? How they got 7? How they got? Say, Coach, Kyle Shanahan, he know how to win games. When Kittle went out, I'm pretty sure every 49ers fan was like, all right, here we go. And they won that game. Yes, figuring out how to. Christian McCaffrey is highly talented. He's highly skilled. But you put him with Kyle Shanahan.
Agreed.
And you could put him in. He knows how to put him in spots. He knows how to. We're going to go 3-by-1. We putting him over here. I'm putting CMC over here where he has to ISO. It's you and him. That guy can't guard. He just knows how to coach football, man. So, yes, Kyle Shanahan, it was a toss-up. I was, Liam Cohen, Kyle Shanahan. There was a couple coaches where I was like, Coach, Kyle Shanahan, man. He got to be Coach of the Year.
Although that shouldn't count on Coach of the Year.
I know it shouldn't, but like yesterday was more of a stamp.
Yeah. But that was every year. This has been every game, every week. Somebody new's hurt every week.
Yeah. So I want to say he's the best coach in the NFL because it's a lot of guys, well, not a lot of guys, but it's a handful of guys who doing their shit right now, like Ben Johnson, like Sean Payton. Yeah. Like it's a lot of them who on top of their game right now. So I can't just stamp him as the guy, but I will say he one of them, man. The way he has his team ready to play always.
Well, the difficulty he's facing. I mean, Ben, they don't have the injuries that the Niners have right now.
I mean, they do. They got rookie quarterbacks, and they got their own boat of problems. Everybody got problems, Kenzie. It's the National Football League. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. A backup, he one step behind the starter. You one play from being a starter. It's a lot of guys guys like Juszczyk, you become a star because of Shanahan. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just say, just how he has his team always ready to play. How competitive his team always is. And then it's how he built his depth chart. They got depth. That's why they could be next man up. They got the same caliber of players,
and
man.
6 string in there.
Man, they got the same caliber of players all the way through. And then it's just how he dial it up. Like you said, man, you can have a CMC, but can you get him the ball in multiple ways like Shanahan do? You know what I'm saying? That's a skill. So can you score in the red zone? Can you dial up a jet, reverse, pass in the red zone right at the time you need it? It's how he dial that shit up. So I definitely put him in that top boat of guys, but it's hard to stamp yourself as the best.
The best.
No, I mean,
I think from year to year that the best coach, it changes. Yeah. And he always in with a Lombardi. He was the best one.
Yeah.
If you look at consistency.
I think that's for me sustained success over the long haul. Since he's been there.
Yeah.
Him and John Lynch But him and John Lynch have just stacked that team with talent. They have talent everywhere. Now they have a bunch of injuries, but they have a ton of talent everywhere. They're always in the playoff, always in the NFC Championship game, bunch of Super Bowl appearances. I think the best compliment Shanahan can get is when we talk about young, up-and-coming offensive minds, we're like, it's they look like Shanahan, they look like McVay, right?
They come from his tree.
They come from his tree. They run that system. They scheme you up, shifts, motions, personnel. They get you to give them a certain look, and then they expose matchups. They take advantage of matchups. Now, this was a masterclass doing it this year. You're missing your entire defense. You're missing all your linebackers. You're down to some guys. Kendricks, they pulled Kendricks off the street, comes up with the play of the game. So with Shanahan, it's about belief. It's about believing that he's going to put the guys in the best position to win. They have belief that they're going to go out there and they're going to have a tight game plan to attack these teams. And they're always in the conversation. They had a bunch of injuries. They just keep winning. They keep winning. They keep winning. George Kittle goes out. Who do they start throwing the ball to? Juszczyk. They're using Juszczyk out of the backfield, right? I mean, that is having confidence in your players, putting them in a position to succeed, and then going out there and executing.
Okay. All I know for sure is that your head coach did the best job this year of any head coach, given everything you just talked about. And I also want to give credit to his father, who I know pretty well, because Mike is one of the best to ever call plays in this league, and he still contributes heavily to Kyle. And I think there's a brain trust going on, and their plans are always the best plan you could have for this circumstance. And the team believes in Kyle and plays hard for Kyle, and that's hard to find consistently, as you guys know, in this league. I have covered a bunch of teams in my time who, with major injuries, just quit. And they didn't mean to quit. They just subliminally, psychologically just said the reality set in. You know, like we're just not good enough. Not your team. And it's a tribute to Mike Lynch because the 5th and 6th stringers, they all look pretty good to me. Like, wait, who's that?
Well.
Oh, that guy looked pretty good. That corner yesterday, I don't even know who he was, but he looked like he was making some plays. What was his name? Stout?
Stout, yeah.
Stout.
Yeah,
I'm like,
good,
damn, the kid can play, right? Yeah. Or maybe they think they can play. Maybe in the system. I still say Salah's a better coordinator than a head coach. That's just me, but he's a really good coordinator. And that unit is playing so hard for him.
That combo, him and Shanahan.
That is like a
I
great
know.
combo.
That's why I'm like, nobody hire him as a head coach, please.
I mean, they got a good thing going.
Yeah. This was an all-timer to pull this off. Under those circumstances with no Kittle, it's just hard to do. And I agree about Christian McCaffrey. You put him, like they couldn't run. He's not the best banging it between the tackles, but the catch he made at the goal line on the trick play, it's a hard catch because
right shoulder.
But he looked the wrong way. He looked inside and the ball goes outside. And when Jennings threw it, he said, I thought I threw it too far because it's with the wind, and he thought it was just going to fly. And McCaffrey did this and then went back the other way and caught it straight over his head. It's a hard catch, man.
He's an athlete.
Sometimes I think he's at least as good a receiver, like a catcher of the football, as he is a runner of the football. Man. And so you've maxed out what he is to your football team, and what a coach. That yesterday was a coaching job. That's where you say,
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, this weekend, though, we have the Seattle Seahawks again. So this will be a little trilogy because the Niners